How can we make a choice based on perfection if we're coming from an error state inside?
Good question. Did everyone get that? How can we make a choice that's about perfection when we're coming from an error state? Yeah. It's a very good question. Remember, the way I draw it is that we've got our soul and we've got what kind of influences? Truth influences and error influences, right? And error influences affect our all emotions, desires, what else? Aspirations. Our intentions and everything, right? Now, the question is, if this error is inside of me, how do I then know what the truth is? Well, you know by the pain you're in. Right? Because error always is painful and always creates suffering. Right? So if there's pain or suffering anywhere in me, in my physical body, in my emotional state, in my relationships with any single person that comes into my life, and if there's pain and suffering involved with any of those, I am in error. And I need to just come to terms with that I'm in error in that condition. And if I allow myself to see the truth of that the error always creates pain and suffering, then I can actually make some different choices, emotionally different choices. So obviously the first thing to understand is this soul is attracting the pain and suffering because of the emotions in it. Release those emotions and it will no longer attract those same events. And so the key then is to go through this process emotionally, not here, but here. So there is a way you can recognise truth even when you're in error. And let's face it, for most of us, we know when we're doing things wrong, even as we're doing them many times, don't we? Like, you know when you're yelling at your kids that it's not so much fun for them, don't you? You know that. But there's just this emotion at the time driving you, isn't there, a lot of times? I've just got to yell at them, I can't help myself. And that emotion that's driving you needs to come out. And you can see the damage that's happening to your own children if you're doing that many times. But we don't address it emotionally. We don't look at ourselves emotionally, and that's where the big problem is for many of us. We've been taught to think everything and not feel anything.
What about all those behaviors that we have based on our errors that we do not recognize? Remember when you met me, you pointed out all these things that I didn't have a clue about?
Yep.
And I was so angry with you for pointing them out because I beg your pardon, that's not me. But I now realize, of course, yes.
Well, the truth is that anger is really good. Because anger is telling me, as soon as, if anything in the universe gets pointed out to you and you get angry, you know straight away there's an error inside of your emotion. Right? So it's really, really good. Anger is really good. It tells you things, right? Anger is a painful emotion, isn't it, to experience? When you feel it, all your body tightens up, everything becomes very stressful. It's a painful emotion, and it's telling you a lot.
No, I didn't even recognize that anger. You said, "Help, are you angry with me?" I said, "No, I'm not." So where do most people go from there who are not, having like...
Well, the truth is that nobody can progress generally without somebody helping them.
No, that's what I feel.
And this is something that you come to realise in the spirit world a lot too. That a lot of people in the spirit world realise that after a while that they can't actually process or progress unless they rely on something, unless they trust someone. Right? Now God has the ability to help us, but most of the time we're not connecting with God. So rely on other people who seem to be connecting with God to see what they're telling you and what the law of attraction is bringing you, and let yourself see those events. Yeah. But the truth is, for all of us, we will all have to rely on someone at some point to help us in our progression.